This week we're going to be talking about an anime, and this anime has to do with politics and business and other sorts of stuff. This week we're going to be talking about Classroom Crisis, an anime that aired in the summer of 2015.
It's about a classroom that is under a crisis, and that's about all you need to know.
So for this non-spoiler section, let's get into this. Let's go.
Okay.
So I watched this during the summer.
Yes.
And I watched week by week, and then I was like, wow, Dawson, you gotta really watch this. It's actually pretty decent.
Yeah, I watched the first episode of this as it aired, and then I was like, not really feeling it, and I dropped it, put it on hold, whatever you want to call it, until Andrew made me pick it up.
Yeah, and then I was
week.
and then I was busy this week, so I was like, man, I gotta abuse this right now. So I was like, okay, pulling it out here. Let's do it. Classroom Crisis. Classroom Crisis is directed by I believe it's written by the guy who did White Album 2. And directed by the person who is going to be doing My Hero Academia.
Yeah, My Hero Academia.
Wow, based on how you describe White Album 2, I do not see the resemblance.
I see the resemblance a lot. After watching it, I got scared.
Well, I mean, there is that ending.
Dude, I got really scared towards the end because I thought they were going to pull a White Album 2 on me.
The show's too heavy for that. Not that I watched White Album 2.
I hated the show because you like it, and I couldn't find anything major to criticize about it. And I really wanted to get back at you after the last review, but I couldn't. Or the two reviews ago, but I couldn't. Because this was okay. Like, it didn't stand out to me that much. Like, it was decent. Like, the writing was good. There wasn't any too much bullshit in there.
I had some criticisms. I'm trying to remember them, so I can talk about them later. But I definitely had some.
But overall,
solid 8 out of 10 at least.
They were not like game-breaking criticisms or anything.
Well,
it was just
there was the physics bit.
Yeah, there's the physics bit, which we'll talk about in a bit. Which I don't know if you noticed this, but how did nobody but me notice it? There's a scene in space that makes absolutely no sense, and we'll get to that.
So overall, before I just want to
Was it near the end?
No.
Yeah, midsection.
So, for people who don't know, Classroom Crisis is, well, again, it's about a classroom crisis, but it's about a classroom of just really smart people who work for a...
You've never heard this premise before.
Yes.
Continue.
They're the exclusive class in an exclusive school, so it's okay that they're high schoolers.
No, they're not even an exclusive school. They just work for the
company.
company.
No, they say they're in this super exclusive school that is built with the company, and then they're the super genius class that come with the school. And then their teacher's the super, super, super genius.
They spend until 12 o'clock in class, and everything after that is
just
spent working on
rockets.
Rockets and engine. They get paid for this, by the way.
And even though they're in high school, they're making the future of all technology in fucking rocket science.
They're on the cutting edge here.
They're on the cutting edge. And then, guy comes in and just starts scrapping everything, and they have to kind of try
There's
to get...
a transfer student that also happens to be their boss.
And then they're just like, yo... We need, he's like, I'm shutting you guys down. The company's shutting you guys down.
God, just describing it, I hate this show.
and then they're like, okay, we don't want to be shut down, and it's their struggle to not be shut down.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember showing you guys that video, a video about Classroom Crisis, where does it feel like they wanted to make one story, but then they had to make compromises?
Sort of. I feel like they wanted to make the whole business story, but they were... I don't think they even had to compromise though. I think the whole high school thing was just kind of there in general.
The whole high school idea could have been scrapped, and it could have been the same exact story.
I mean...
But it is a teacher in his class.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it could have been different as,
a boss and his employees.
His boss and
it could have been.
It could have been like The Office, where Michael Scott is the boss and all the employees,
worked.
and then a guy, a regional manager, comes in and just goes, yo, I'm shutting you guys down.
Yeah, but it wouldn't make as much sense for the transfer student, because I feel like him being such a...
Yeah, a very big part of it was the fact that he's
young, right?
Young, and also on the same level as the students. Whereas if this was a workplace, he can't really be their boss and also work with them at the same time. I really don't see how that could end up working out. Maybe there's a workaround, but I don't think the show could have come out quite...
Yeah, the dynamic was
I don't think they could have built him into the
the character.
Our main pseudo main character.
It would have been like
a
bunch of old people getting really upset that the main character's that he's trying to boss them around. He might not be the main character, but they're like, oh, I hate how he's bossing us around, and then they start like a rebellion against him and stuff. Because I couldn't really see them like getting along if like some new little guy came in and he's like, I'm gonna shut down your company, and like most of them were like twice his age and shit. You know what I mean? So it's kind of a good thing that they were like locked at that age. But I think college would definitely be a better thing. They could be like graduate students even. That would work fine.
Yeah, I think
but
that would
feel
be
high school. That's so.
The reason why they did high school is I think it's because it's Japan. You do an anime, you have to put it in high school.
Yeah, but that detracts from the show. That's an excuse, but it's not like.
But they work with what they had.
Yeah, I'm somehow a fan of the school genre. I don't know how, and I don't know why, but I really like school anime. And this would have benefited from being college graduate student, not what it.
But it's because
it's not like they're making video games or like a little tiny engineering feats. They're making actual full rockets with like brand new engines and shit that go into space.
and like, they are 20 years ahead of their time.
They are literally the prodigies of every single department, like every single class. They're the prodigies of.
I always have problems with like the child genius crap.
And then you have a class of just child geniuses.
Yeah, the entire class.
It also makes it kind of hard to feel sorry for these characters when it's like, whatever happens, they're fine. They don't actually need this fucking class.
Well, it's their job. Like
I know, but they could easily get another job
elsewhere. There are so many other jobs they could take.
Their reputation precedes them, and they're super smart, and they can do all this crap.
I know, but the problem is this company is like the majority of like the rocket industry.
There are more things I want to say on this, and I can't say them until we get into the spoilers section.
Yeah, but in general, the like. What's it called? Displacement of the belief aside. What's it called? Suspension of disbelief aside, like the show has some pretty good drama. It has like I'd say the pacing's pretty good.
Pacing's decent characters.
Yeah, the art, nothing really like special, but it's nice.
Yeah, it's okay.
And
passable.
The characters are kind of shallow, but like the leads are alright.
No, like all the 4 leads, they all have characters, but then the other one, they're just side characters.
They kind of just exist.
Yeah, well, because you can't build a rocket with 4 people.
Yeah, I know. And when it comes to like the actual like building process, they don't try to make that part. They kind of just skim over, which is a good thing. Mm-hmm. I'm glad they didn't like go, oh, I'm gonna hack this computer, and then just him slamming on the keyboard or shit like that.
It cuts to something else,
or them just doing bullshit. Yeah,
and then it comes back to him.
And we did it.
Yeah, this is the stuff we did behind the scenes because that's all like stuff that if we tried to explain it to you, we would either dumb it down so much it's inaccurate, or we would just make shit up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it works well. With that.
Yeah, don't take this as we don't like this. I mean, I guess
it has good drama.
I'm guessing that you guys.
It was an average show for me.
Uh-huh.
It had some good. It had some
I
bad
like the workplace
stuff
stuff a lot more, honestly.
Well, yeah, that's what I like.
Or not. What's it called? The like the business. Mm-hmm. Like behind the scenes scumbag tactics.
That's why I like this show. Is all
really?
Is a lot of that business aspect of it because this show is a lot.
I thought it was a little heavy-handed with how much of an a-hole one of the brothers is, but
yep, I also.
We'll get to that.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
But but would you recommend the show, and who would you recommend it to?
I give it a decent recommendation.
I mean, if you've watched, there's a lot of other things I think you should watch before this. But if you don't have anything to watch and you're looking for something to watch, I mean, I have no reason to tell you not to.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, people what type of people would you like? Would you think would like this?
If you watch like soap operas about businesses, you might like this.
Yeah, if you like business and politics, just like the pseudo business politics kind of stuff.
I don't think
like it's not in depth, but
it's
that's why I said
pseudo. Okay, pseudo business politics.
If you'd like to like imagine yourself in there, like you don't actually understand how businesses work, but you'd like to imagine like you're in a business and like there's all the the stuff you can do with that.
The backstabbing, the deals, the under the table deals.
Then this works pretty well.
Yeah,
it has a pretty complex kind of story, and things are constantly changing, and people are constantly plotting, and there's like a presidential election going on and stuff in the background.
Yeah, I would definitely recommend it, and always I would say this is one of those shows that you have to stick with because those opening couple episodes aren't as good as the later couple episodes.
I don't think they're that bad. I just don't think they
they really contributed to like what
the overall
full feeling is.
The overall story.
Yeah.
Like they do talk a lot about like, oh, this is like the people kind of struggling to keep their job kind of thing, but that's about it. They don't really go into like all the stuff that's going to come later.
Yeah, not a lot of really important stuff happened in the
But,
first
I mean,
couple episodes.
Again, a lot of people, like I was reading it, like there's a lot of people who dropped it early on because of like, it was just like, oh, this is gonna be some generic schlock.
And they waste a lot of time on some arcs that like they just kind of drop right after. It's like, let's go do this, and then they're like, okay, we're done with that. Let's move on in the first few. Yeah,
and that's the one issue where like those opening ones not as great, but if you watch it, I'd suggest keep going, and then it's pretty good. In my opinion, I liked it. I really enjoyed it.
It's a nice story. It's short and has a timely conclusion and stuff.
Yeah,
it works well as a 12-episode anime.
And really wish there was also a sequel.
You wish they had a second season?
Well, hopefully, like, you never know if they make it or not, but it's one of those things where I think, like, a sequel, like a second season, would really benefit, like, with a lot of the stuff that was left open.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how much I care about a second season for this show.
There's other things, like, for you...
There's a lot of other things I'd rather have get a second season, and, like, if this one had a second season, I wouldn't watch it until it's finished. Like, some things I like enough that I would watch a second season of as they're airing, as I'm currently doing with Noragami, but a lot of things, this included, I'd rather just wait until the second season finished and then watch it.
Yeah,
So it's not a pressing
but overall,
matter.
3 decent recommendations. Yeah, pretty good.
Yeah.
I just want my One Punch second season already.
You're still airing the first one, Connor. You have to be patient.
Anyway, moving on.
Dude, just crappy Flash One Punch 1 animation.
Instead of flashing, it's
so, now